Most men do not become emotionally detached overnight. It happens slowly, usually after disappointment that lasted too long, after loyalty that was not respected, after realizing effort does not protect you from betrayal. And the strange part is, many people never notice the exact moment it begins, because emotionally detached men often still function normally. They go to work, they answer messages, they laugh when required, they remain reliable. From the outside, nothing looks broken. But internally, something has shifted, not because they stopped feeling. Because they learned what happens when they feel too much around the wrong people. A lot of men are raised with a dangerous emotional contradiction. They are told to care deeply, to protect, to provide emotional stability, to stay loyal through difficulty. But many are never taught how to process betrayal when loyalty is not returned. So instead of grieving openly, they adapt silently. And silent adaptation changes people in ways others rarely understand. At first, the betrayal feels personal. A relationship ends unexpectedly. A close friend lies. Someone they sacrificed for becomes emotionally cold the moment they are no longer useful. The initial reaction is confusion more than anger, because betrayal rarely hurts only because of what happened. It hurts because of what the man believed before it happened. He believed consistency mattered. He believed effort created security. He believed honesty would eventually be recognized. When those beliefs collapse, something deeper than trust gets damaged. His emotional predictability disappears, and after enough emotional shock, many men begin reducing emotional exposure altogether. Not dramatically, quietly. They stop explaining themselves, stop volunteering vulnerability, stop expressing disappointment. Not because they became emotionless, because expression started feeling dangerous. This is the part people misunderstand. Emotional detachment is often not a lack of emotion. It is emotional self-protection that became permanent. A man who was once emotionally expressive can become extremely restrained after betrayal because his nervous system begins associating openness with humiliation, especially. The betrayal happened during a period where he was emotionally sincere. That changes people. There is a specific kind of pain that comes from being vulnerable with someone who later weaponizes your trust. After that, emotional caution stops feeling unhealthy. It starts feeling intelligent, so he becomes harder to read. His responses shorten, his reactions flatten. He reveals less, not because he thinks it makes him powerful, because unpredictability now feels safer than emotional transparency. And over time, this emotional restraint becomes part of his identity. Many emotionally detached men are not trying to appear cold. They are trying to avoid emotional exhaustion, because betrayal creates a strange form of psychological fatigue. You begin replaying conversations, reanalyzing moments, questioning your judgment. Not just questioning other people, questioning yourself for trusting them. That self-questioning is what drains people the most, especially men who already carry quiet pressure internally. Pressure to remain composed, pressure to stay functional, pressure to absorb emotional damage without collapsing publicly. So eventually, some men stop searching for emotional closeness entirely, not because they no longer desire connection, but because connection starts feeling psychologically expensive. They become more selective with attention, more guarded with affection, more careful with emotional investment. And honestly, many of them become calmer afterward, but it is not always healthy calm. Sometimes it is emotional numbness disguised as maturity. There is a difference. Real emotional maturity still allows warmth, still allows trust to exist carefully, still allows emotional honesty. Emotional detachment often removes those things completely. The man still functions, still succeeds, still appears composed, but internally, he has stopped expecting emotional safety from people. That expectation died somewhere during the betrayal. And once that happens repeatedly, many men begin operating emotionally like observers instead of participants. They stay present physically, but emotionally, they remain slightly outside the experience, watching, evaluating, never fully relaxing. You can often see it in small behaviors. They hesitate before opening up. They redirect personal conversations. They minimize emotional needs. They disappear for long periods emotionally without explanation, not to manipulate people, to recover psychological control, because betrayal often creates an intense fear of emotional dependence. The fear is not always abandonment itself. It is the humiliation of realizing someone had emotional access to parts of you they never truly valued. That realization changes the nervous system, especially in men who loved sincerely. And the difficult truth is, society often rewards emotionally detached men on the surface. They appear disciplined, independent, focused, calm under pressure. People admire emotional restraint when they cannot see the loneliness underneath it. But many detached men quietly experience emotional isolation that they never speak about, because after betrayal, expressing emotional pain can feel embarrassing, especially for men taught to survive privately. So they become emotionally efficient instead, less reactive, less expressive, less available. Eventually, people stop asking how they feel because the answer always sounds controlled. I'm good. I'm fine. Just tired. And after enough years, even he may struggle to identify what he actually feels anymore. That is the hidden danger of long-term emotional detachment. The protective mechanism survives longer than the original wound. At some point, the betrayal is gone, but the emotional distance remains, and rebuilding emotional openness after that is difficult because trust no longer feels natural. It feels strategic, measured, conditional, especially for men who learned that emotional sincerity does not guarantee emotional safety. But despite all this, most emotionally detached men are not heartless. In fact, many feel things very deeply. They simply became careful about where those feelings are allowed to exist, because betrayal taught them something painful. Sometimes the people closest to you are also the people most capable of changing how safely you experience your own emotions. And once a man learns to survive without emotional dependence, he rarely returns to vulnerability the same way again. Not because he stopped needing connection, but because part of him never fully forgot what it cost last time